Yusuke Kitagawa is the only good character in Persona 5. Everyone else fucking sucks. I'm just kidding. Though he is most certainly my favorite character in the game, along with Ryuji and Akechi. Yusuke is quirky, artistic, relatable, mature, and asexual. The Persona community tends to label Yusuke as a missed opportunity to add a gay character, with their evidence being that he isn't immediately interested in girls. Yo, no way, seriously? Wow, I think you made such a stunning revelation that I think we need to give you the Nobel Prize for fallacious and flawed research. Oh, don't worry about it. You can easily redeem yourself by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Sexuality has more stripes than your average zebra, you know. Hell, the asexual flag alone has black, white, gray, and purple. Persona 5 has clearly built an asexual character in this game. But there are people in this world that don't know asexuals exist, and some of those people even flat out deny our existence and validation because logic, reasoning, and lack thereof. Well, excuse me, sir, but please, take a look at this black ring on my right hand. Take a good, long look at it. Alright, let me explain to you why Yusuke Kitagawa is not just an asexual character, but an overall positive representation of asexuality as a whole. Yusuke's introduction portrays him as a sort of deep and dashingly handsome sexual predator. Actually, Yusuke is an artist, and he was merely looking for his own magnum opus. He took a look at Anne's figure and theorized that it'd be perfect for his next painting, but it's revealed later on that he doesn't mean this in a sexual context. Yusuke is a character that just regularly sees the beauty in things. To quote the people from BAM Animation, an artist is also an observer, and in Yusuke's confidant, one of the activities you get to do with him is referred to as people watching. I doubt that Yusuke could get away with this if he was gay, bi, or worse, a filthy fucking hetero. What do you mean I'm anti-straight? I have friends who are straight. Since Yusuke is asexual, it makes it easier to understand that Yusuke is just observing the behaviors of other people. Even though Anne was initially uncomfortable with the process, she at least understood that Yusuke never intended to do anything sexual, and that Yusuke was just a weird kid. Weird like all those asophobes walking up to a random group of asexuals and being all like, "Sex is the greatest thing in existence! If you aren't thinking about sex 24/7, then there is something wrong with you!" I can tell that you really like shuffling in your spare time, but what really solidifies it for me is this scene while the gang is entering Futaba's palace. Anne is just lying back in her seat and briefly revealing the exact thing that is going to get my video flagged if I don't censor it, so BAM! Call that censored gaming. And Ryuji and Joker are shamefully staring at it because Ryuji has never seen a $sign in his life, and Joker's a Mary Sue Sam! But Yusuke is just casually looking out the front window, not even giving it attention. Ideally, showing Ryuji's PogChamp and Joker's silent yet significant intrigue would be enough, but they still believe that showing Yusuke's lack of interest was important enough to be in the scene. Heck, a few seconds later, Yusuke has a smug little grin on his face that just says, "You should know better than to trivialize such a beautiful person like that." So Yusuke doesn't want sex. Wouldn't that just mean he's practicing celibacy or maybe even being abstinent? Not really. There's another layer to consider here. And you know Persona fans, they love to dissect their favorite games. And even someone like me, who doesn't believe that Persona 5 qualifies as a masterpiece, loves to use critical thinking in games where it fits. So what if I told you that an important part of Yusuke's character is that of a closeted asexual? I mean, really think about it. Here's the thing about sexual orientation. It often comes from specific life experiences. Most people start questioning their sexuality around their teenage years, and they wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it with anyone, and some never truly come out for a very long time. I understand that not everyone is like this, especially not me, as I tend to be very open about my asexuality. But consider Yusuke's position in life. He's been incredibly sheltered by Madarame, having no one else to turn to aside from him, and even then, it's debatable as to whether or not he even cared about Yusuke. Yeah, he did consider Yusuke something of a son, but any father can treat their child like dog shit and call it love. Yusuke lived his whole life looking up to Madarame by coercion, something like Stockholm Syndrome. Ever since Yusuke was 3 years old, he believed that Madarame should be the only person that he should care about. This has skewed Yusuke's entire perception of love. He knows what it is, and can indubitably appreciate it, but in terms of him loving someone else, it's possible that he's never felt attracted to anyone. Yusuke's artist tendencies have made him develop a deeper meaning about love. Many people consider sex to be the definitive method of expressing your love for a partner, but Yusuke's definition of love is way less one-dimensional. Not in the sense that he has a superior understanding of love, but a different understanding. Think about it like this. Music composition is one of my 3 majors. And this has helped me learn about how other instruments are written, like the trumpet. I understand that the trumpet is written in B-flat major as opposed to C major. I've learned the purpose of a trumpet part as well as some trumpet technique. But if you gave me a trumpet and told me to play a song, having all this knowledge isn't gonna make me enjoy playing the trumpet. This may seem like a peculiar comparison at first, given that Yusuke is an artist, not a musician. But Yusuke has learned a lot about love as a concept, just not as something that he himself can feel, or something that he wants to feel. And that's because he's convinced that feeling love for someone trivializes the overall beauty of the idea. In other words, he's being dispassionately realistic. Despite this, his friends seem to understand this aspect about Yusuke, and accept him into the Phantom Thieves. Even if it's never definitively stated that Yusuke is asexual, especially since there is no scene of Yusuke coming out to his peers, all the signs are still made apparent. And while it would have been bold of Atlus to include a scene where Yusuke comes out, it's probably better for his asexuality to be more subtle, given that the game already lacks subtlety in many areas. Regardless, I still consider Yusuke one of the few yet positive representations of asexual characters in media, along with the likes of SpongeBob SquarePants! Yes, the late Steven Hillenburg stated that SpongeBob is asexual and that SpongeBob is not supposed to have a romantic partner. So stop shipping him with other characters, you heathens! Now we're at a question. If Atlus were to debunk this theory and say something like, Yusuke is actually straight or abstinent or something, would I really be disappointed? Of course I would, because that'd mean this whole analysis would be null and void, and I already spent weeks about this, so all that work would have been gone to waste. But it wouldn't make me lose my appreciation for the character. This is because Yusuke was written as a character distinct from his asexuality, which is much better than writing a character to force the happiness out of minorities. If a character being LGBT is added to a character that was inherently uninteresting, then it ironically subtracts from a character's existence. Not that there's anything wrong with making a character's sexuality an important part of who they are, because it can totally work, as long as it's not the only thing that the character has to deal with. And Yusuke's confidant alone gives him more than enough development, from growing as an artist, to the struggle of the art versus the industry, to even finding a mentor that actually cares about Yusuke and avidly aspires to help improve his talents and tap into his potential. It's almost as if he wasn't conceived with asexuality in mind. Although, what's wrong with embracing this aspect of the character? It wouldn't be the first time that the Persona series secretly explored sexual orientation. So trust me when I say, they'd be doing much more than just filling out a checkbox.